hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John LeBang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John LeBang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John LeBang Show. Now here's John.
I came across this article, Best 100 Albums of All Time. The author is Stephen M. Peters, and it was put out in April, and I've been holding on to it. Most of the reason is because I haven't had a chance to talk about this. But I'm not going to rip apart his whole, which is number 75 and number 33. It's ridiculous. But I am going to make comments on some of these choices. So at number 100, and we're going to really try to get this in. We don't have a whole long segment here, but at number 100, we have Don't Shoot Me, I'm the Only Piano Player by Elton John. Not a big fan of Elton John, but, I sure understand his credit, so I'm not going to poo-poo that one. The next one is 99 AM by Arctic Monkeys. Now, I had no idea who these guys were. So I took some time to listen to these guys, and I can tell you, they're not one of the top 100. You can have Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic into this place right here, and that would be just fine as far as I'm concerned. That's a better album than what these guys have produced. Next is Audio Slave, 1998. Their first, it sold 3 million copies. I like Audio Slave. I don't know if it's one of the top 100 albums, but we'll give them credit that they're giving a decent rock band some credit here. Next one is James Taylor and Sweet Baby James. That's number 97. Not a big fan. Decent music if you like that style of music. I would probably put something a little more heavier in its place. At 96, it's Coldplay, A Rush of Blood to the Head. I'm not a fan of Coldplay. I know a lot of people love their music. I would much rather see Black Sabbath Volume 4 here, or Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. To me, those are better albums. At number 95, System of the Down, Toxicity. Not a fan of System of the Down. Again, I understand a lot of people like them. I think there'd be other albums more worthy of being on the list. Maybe something by Rush or The Who. At 95, they barely made the list. Janis Joplin's Pearl is at number 94. I wasn't a big fan of Janis Joplin. I didn't really particularly gravitate to her music. I could see Whitesnake's Slide It In album way better than what I would consider this Janis Joplin album. Bad Company's original album, Bad Company. Not a bad album. Lots of good songs on that one. At 93, sure, they could probably make the list. 92, Peter Gabriel's So. Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. I remember how relevant this band was at the time. I don't know if it was one of the best albums, or top 100 albums. It did sell 5 million copies. At 91, it's not a big deal to be on the top 100. At 90, Super Unknown by Soundgarden. Yes, that's a great album. After that, Alice in Chains' Dirt. Great album. One of the better albums from Alice in Chains. From front to back, great album. If you've never listened to that, pick it up, Alice in Chains' Dirt. R.E.M. Out of Time is at 88. Loved R.E.M. when they were big. Never liked a full album of theirs. Brother in Arms by Dire Straits. Great stuff. Not a huge fan of Dire Straits. Had a couple good songs. I probably wouldn't put it in the top 100, but that's just me. Animals by Pink Floyd at 86. Pretty good darn album. Top 100, sure. A lot of Pink Floyd should be making the top 100. U2's Unforgettable Fire. Not a huge fan of U2, but I do recognize their popularity. This album sold 3 million copies. Top 100, sure, I can live with that. 9 Inch Nails, A Downward Spiral. I remember how big 9 Inch Nails was at the time. Good album, still not a complete album from my opinion. Probably would make top 100 for me. 1971's Black Sabbath Paranoid album at 83. I would rank this one much higher. Black Sabbath Paranoid would be probably in my top 50, if not in my top 25. It's a respectable number, but I think this guy's not a big heavy metal fan, and he's going to put the heavier bands lower on the list. Number 82, Prince's 1999. Great album. For a heavy rocker like myself, I loved Prince. Everything on that album was decent, if not really good. Probably his second best album overall. Sure, at 82, that's great. Number 81 is AC/DC's Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. It sold 6 million copies, but here's the issue. I don't even think this should make it top 100. I think albums like Highway to Hell should be ranked in the top 100 and not AC/DC's Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. It was brought in while right after Back in Black to carry on, to give them an album in between for those about to rock and Back in Black. It was a filler album. It was a bunch of old songs that they had brought in that were not released earlier in their history, and I don't even think it should make top 100 just for that fact. And it really only had one or two superior songs. The rest were just songs that never made albums in the U.S. because they weren't good enough to make albums. Heart's Heart album in 1985. I remember that album. It was really good. It's actually when Heart went off of their harder rock edge and they went to a more poppy style. But it worked. And sure, in the top 100, I'll take that. The Cars' Candy-O, 1979. The Cars were great. In fact, through a 5 or 6 year period there, they were one of the catchier bands that was from the MTV generation. And yeah, for top 100, I'll take the Cars' Candy-O. George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, 1970. I love George Harrison, love the Beatles. I don't know if I would rank this one in one of the top 100. I'm sure there are other people that would say, yes, it's a great album. A lot of good stuff on it. Not my cup of tea. Bruce Springsteen, The River, 1980. Fleetwood Mac. Love Fleetwood Mac. That was their best album they ever put out. Sure, I'll take it in the top 100. 75, 76, 70, right in there. That's perfect range for them. The Beatles, Meet the Beatles at number 75. There's going to be a lot of Beatles in the top 100 for sure. They were one of the greatest rock bands of all time. John Cougar Mellencamp's Scarecrow. Yeah, I recognize how good that album was. It was catchy. There was a lot of good songs on it. Sold 5 million copies. Aerosmith's Toys in the Attic. Good album. A lot of great stuff on it. That was in their prime. That was before they had all their issues. Yeah, definitely. I might even rank that one a little higher, and I'm not even an Aerosmith fan, although Aerosmith is probably the greatest American rock band of all time. AC/DC's The Razor's Edge comes in at number 72. Good album. It was carried by Thunderstruck, and that brought it a long way. I don't know if it was actually their making the top 100. Again, I would think Highway to Hell would be up there. The album Black Ice had a better collection of songs than The Razor's Edge. Thunderstruck really, it's still played all over the place. Every sports arena in the world plays that song, so that's why that one is. Green Day's American Idiot. Not a big fan of Green Day. Understand they're popular with the younger generation. We'll take it in top 100, sure. Number 70, The Who's Quadrophenia. Great album. I might even rank it a little higher. We'll just leave it at 70. That's fine. Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life. Great album. Lots of good stuff. Probably his best album. Well, yeah, 69. I might even rank this one a little higher. Led Zeppelin 3. Not a fan of that album at all. Lots of people like that album. To me, it's got 2 good songs on it. The rest are mediocre at best. That's when they went a little more Americana. I wouldn't even put it in the top 100. I would like to see, again, Black Sabbath Volume 4, to me, is a lot better album than Led Zeppelin 3. MTV Unplugged in New York by Nirvana is at 67. I remember how popular this was at the time, and all those acoustic versions, you still hear them on the radio. Sure, that's at 67. That's a decent place for it. Chicago Transit Authority. Not a huge fan of Chicago. Understand their significance and how popular they were. Weezer. Their first album, not a big fan. Understand how popular they were. Probably wouldn't be in the top 100 albums for me. Tracy Chapman's first album probably wouldn't be in the top 100 for me. But they're giving it to it. I'd like to see, again, Whitesnake had a couple good albums there. Def Leppard had a couple good albums there. Even Metallica could be put in place of this album. Boston, Don't Look Back, great album. You can't beat Boston. Sure, that's in the top 100. Rolling Stones, Let It Bleed, 1969. That's at the height of their popularity. You can't beat the Rolling Stones. I might even rank it higher. Santana, Abraxas in 1970. Not a huge fan of Santana. Open Invitation's a cool song, and a couple other ones, but yeah, ranked a little high for me. I think this is a nostalgia guy here. Running on Empty by Jackson Browne in 1977. Lots of people like Jackson Browne. You probably don't know Jackson Browne sings a lot of the songs he sings, but yeah, I'm not a fan. Top 100. If it is, it's in the later editions, not as high as 60. Led Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor. Again, not a fan of Zeppelin at all as far as this album's concerned. It's okay. Wouldn't have made my top 100. I would have liked to seen another Black Sabbath album in there. Black Sabbath's first album, Black Sabbath, great. There's Ronnie James Dio, man. The Holy Diver album, great album. Overlooked. He's probably not going to make the list. Some other, AC/DC's Let There Be Rock should be in the top 100 ahead of this one at least. Billy Joel's 52nd Street. Yeah, you got to include Billy Joel. He's super popular. NXX Kicks is next. Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion 2. I wasn't a big fan of that album. Had a couple good songs. It was all right. Eagles, The Long Run. Not a big fan of the Eagles. I understand their popularity. At 54, Billy Joel, The Stranger. Again, a lot of people like him. Not a fan, but I understand. Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1. I didn't like that one either. I mean, it wasn't their best albums, but they're in there. The Cars, great album. And like I said, the Cars were great through a little time period there. They were just 5 years. They were awesome. Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain soundtrack, I would probably rank that in the top 25 albums of all time. They've got it at number 51. We got to hurry up here. Shake Your Moneymaker by the Black Crowes at 50. Foreigner, number 4 in 81. Metallica and Justice for All. Master of Puppets, to me, is a better album than this album. Rolling Stones, Some Girls, got to give them that credit there. Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. A big fan of Elton John. If you like him, great. If you don't, well, you know. Green Day, again, Doki, not a fan. Don Henley never should have an album in the top 100, but they got him at the end of Innocence. I wouldn't put him in there. Queen, A Night at the Opera. It's a good album. Never liked a full Queen album, so we were going to just go by that. Michael Jackson's Off the Wall at 42. Anything Michael Jackson was great, so yeah, anything should be there. Stone Temple Pilots at 41, their core album. I would put this later on, probably in the 70s range, but sure, it's the top 100. Journey Escape. Yeah, Journey had great albums. Can't beat that. Madonna, Like a Virgin, probably top 100, but I wouldn't put it in the top 75. It would be towards the later end there, you know, and that's her best album ever. Beastie Boys, Licensed to Ill, that's top 50. What a great album that is. The Who's next. That's a good album, top 100 for sure. The Who, Tommy at 36. I didn't like that one quite as much as I liked The Who's Next, but still a good album, top 100 for sure. Boston's original album, that's top 100 for sure. Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, his best album. Not a big fan of Bruce Springsteen, but he was popular. Def Leppard, Pyromania. Yes, they are definitely should be in the top 33. That's for sure. Huey Lewis and the News Sports, the very popular, probably top 100, but a little more in the 70 or 80s range. Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers, somewhere in the top 50 for sure. They're at 31. Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, I wouldn't put it in the top 100. People love this album. Not a fan of the big fat singer, whatever. Hysteria by Def Leppard, that when they went more commercial, very popular. I understand the significance. Not their best album in my eyes, but, you know, what are you going to do? Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. I sat out for tickets for that tour. yes, for sure. Great album, top 100, probably in the top 75. ZZ Top Eliminator, probably in top 100 in my opinion too. Maybe more towards the back end though. Carole King Tapestry, not a fan. We'll give it at that. Wouldn't be in my top 100. Eagles Hotel California, that wouldn't be in my top 100, but people like it. Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, definitely not in my top 100, but people like them. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, they say it's at 23. I would say it's top 20, so I'd rank it a little higher. The great album, one of the best